Hello, good people of SUNY Oswego. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Chris. Chris is a freshman at SUNY Oswego, aspiring to be a grunge rock artist. Chris has produced several singles already at our own SUNY Oswego recording studio.
Chris Rodriguez.
Chris is a musician here at SUNY Oswego that has not only produced their own music, but has produced it in SUNY Oswego studios. So, Chris, how about you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
All right, I'm a freshman here at SUNY Oswego. It's my second semester, and so far it's pretty great. I mean, the audio uh, course here is really good. I mean, it's the Tyler Hall is a very nice place. They have good studios, good equipment, and um, I do have a home studio back at my home, but I only do that when I'm on breaks. So yeah,
How long have you been into songwriting and producing your own music?
probably since I was about 14. That's when I really started getting into music more as a lifestyle rather than just something that I listen to occasionally. Yeah, I'd say about 13, 14 is when I started getting into the more music that I listen to now, like rock, metal, grunge. Before that, believe it or not, I was a jazz and swing and big band guy. I still am, but I my tastes have shifted a little bit.
I was actually a flute player in jazz band in high
I was a
school.
trumpet player.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
loved jazz band
yeah,
because it
yeah.
was like a small group of people that actually
Hmm.
wanted to be in
No,
band,
exactly. Like
and that was so hard to find like in a
very
public
true.
school setting.
Absolutely. Most people just did it because points on their
Mhm.
grade or whatever. But yeah, jazz band was really fun. I did that seventh grade. So like the first time it was ever introduced, I did it, and then I did it my senior year. So it was a gap, a big gap in between that. But um, because the band teacher he didn't really like have the resources to do it until my senior year. So I did that, and I had so much fun. It was just like you said, a small group of people, and then yeah, it was so fun. But that jazz band experience, and then having my own band at home brought me like to where I am today, really.
So tell me about your band at home.
So I'm from really upstate, well, it's technically called Northern New York, but a little place called Ogdensburg, on the Canadian border, right, the St. Lawrence River, and there we were called Total Nine. It disbanded because the singer is my ex, so that's a little.
That happens.
Um,
Musicians can't date musicians. I mean, look at Stevie Nicks,
yeah,
Lindsey
yeah, yeah,
Sterling.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, so, but I just recently formed a new band. We're called State of Franklin. My home studio in my house is on Franklin Street. So there's a little dual meaning there. One, like in colonial America, there was like supposed to be another colony called Franklin. It got dismembered though, so it didn't really happen. So that was like a historical reference, but also since I live on Franklin Street, it's like kind of like the state of Franklin is like the state at which like the house is like deteriorating because it's super old. It was built in like 1899.
Yeah.
And my parents are actually moving out of it soon. Um, but all of my memories have been there in that house, in that studio. I used to go up there in the studio just for hours at a time, and there is no climate control there. So in the winter, it was
Oh
freezing.
yeah.
In the summer, I was sweating constantly. But I would stay up there for hours, just writing, recording, playing, noodling, and yeah, I mean, that's really like how I became a musician is just isolation
Yeah,
basically. And
that's
then
how a lot of people
yeah,
produce their best things.
oh
And I
yeah,
do expect for your guys' first EP to be a picture of that house.
oh I'm sure it will be. That was great. And the picture that is the single, the Polaroid single, that actually is a Polaroid picture that was really shitty. The Polaroid picture of all of my friends gathered at New Year's party at my house.
Oh my god, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, and it turned out really shitty, but I was like, hey, well, that could be like a cool cover. So yeah.
So, in terms of instruments, how many do you play?
So my main instrument that I started playing the bass guitar, and I've been playing that ever since. I never set it down. It's an addiction, but so yeah, I started playing the bass when I was 13. Before that, I played the trumpet and a little bit of piano. I got a really shitty keyboard off of like Amazon, and started to learn that. Played guitar for like a week. Never again.
Really?
No, my fingers are too fat. I got like stubby fingers. I can't.
I felt like I picked up bass after I learned guitar. And I
Yeah,
feel like the connection it's so similar but also so
that's
different that it's easy to
yeah,
pick up.
for sure. Yeah, like that's like most people start on guitar and then go to bass. Hence the stereotype: basses are failed guitarists. I picked up the guitar first for a week. I picked up the bass. I got another shitty bass off of this fucking place called Glary. My first bass was a typical P bass, no brand, and I played it, and the action was terrible, and the intonation was terrible, and I loved it. It was so good, and then eventually I got an Ibanez, a
That's
billion
what I
times
have.
better, yeah. Um, but funny story. I used to take apart my basses because before I was interested in music, I was interested in engineering. So I used to take apart my basses, look at all the inside workings. Keyword try to put them back together. It never worked. So I broke like 3 or 4 basses that will never be replaced. But including my Ibanez. But I like part of me regrets it because I'd have a lot more bases now. But it was fun. It was just fun going around and like looking at the internals and like trying to like make my own out of parts from other bases and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the bass I play now is a Spectre, my favorite brand. Mike Starr from Alice in Chains played a
Yep.
Spectre. Um, but I sing. Um, I don't know how well I sing. That's like subjective, but I started singing in theater when I was like 9. Um, I did theater up until 2022, so I was a big theater guy for a while. But it wasn't until music that I started going away from theater. I wanted to be on the stage for a different reason. After I picked up the bass and I started getting better at it, that's when I started to like innovate a little bit. My influences started shifting from like traditional bassist Steve Harris of Iron Maiden to more weird bassists. Like I love Les Claypool, but probably my favorite non-typical influence is Mike Kerr of the band Royal Blood. He plays his bass through a bass rig and a guitar rig, and the guitar rig is an octave up. So that's how I got the idea for Red River Canyon, because I used an octave up on there and a heavy distortion, a flanger. So I played it like a guitar, but uh, I got the idea from him, Royal Blood. So thank you, Mike Kerr.
I do want you to go in deeper on Red River
Okay,
Canyon
yeah,
because I had a back seat to the mixing
yeah,
process
yeah,
and like Tegan and I said the same thing. He just needs to let go. And he
yeah,
let that go.
yeah, for sure.
Those screams. And I know you're recording again, right, with him?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, it's gonna be a different song, but same concept. Lead bass. My brother. So my brother at home, who's in the band State of Franklin, he played drums on the Red River Canyon track, and he's the best drummer I've ever heard. Like I'm not kidding, and he's 15 years old. He
Yeah.
played Red River Canyon at 15 years old, and then I just reused the drum track up until now. But it was funny because he doesn't write drum tracks; he just improvises them on the spot. So when I told him, "Hey, you want to record this song?" It took him a little bit. He didn't want to. He didn't want to at first, but he eventually said yes, and we went up to the studio. I played him the track like once or twice, and he was like, "Okay, yep, I got an idea." I hit record on it was like a Tascam like recording thing, but I hit record, and he blew me away. Like I was not expecting because I had an idea of the drums in my head, and he just like threw that in the trash because my idea was bad. His idea was. I started with the bass and vocals, and then
Really?
yeah, so I started with the
You had
bass.
some foundation with the bass though.
Yeah, so basically how I started, I just came up with the riff. The riff was completely different. Months before I even came up with the name Red River Canyon, I created the riff, it was completely different. I tried I was trying to find like that perfect my perfect riff, if that makes sense. Like I was trying to find like a riff that would encompass my musical tastes in one song, and I did it, and it's still my favorite riff I've ever written. I don't think I will ever be able to come up with something better than that.
I remember hearing the intro to Red River Canyon, and I'm like, shit.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
It gives. This is Black Sabbath.
Yeah,
So was that
that's kind
someone
of,
that heavily
Black Sabbath
inspired
was a big influence. Like they were like, if I were to get the metal, one of the first albums I'd ever have you listen to is Paranoid.
Paranoid by
Yeah,
Black Sabbath? Yeah.
yeah, like and then so I came up with that riff. My influences for that riff probably were heaviest on Royal Blood because of the bass tone, but Sad But True by Metallica was a big influence by that song. Just Black Sabbath in general, um, and Alice in Chains, the verses, the syncopation was based off of Man in the Box. But so yeah, then after I created the riff, I started writing vocals to it, and I didn't have a singer. I was like, okay, I'm not really good at singing. I'm just gonna try it. So I recorded the vocals, I recorded the bass, and I put out like a demo on BandLab and SoundCloud, and eventually I just like kept building upon it. Like that's how the song was made. I just kept building and improving upon it until it got to like something that I was satisfied with. And Web helped a lot with that. They gave me like their opinion and a lot of techniques that I learned, like not even just playing but recording the stuff. I learned from Dave Jordan, who recently passed away, rest in peace, who was the producer for Facelift and Dirt. Warren from Produce Like a Pro on the YouTube channel. So I really like that YouTube channel. Taught me a lot. Process with Red River Canyon, I just initial riff, built upon it, vocals, drums. Then I came to Oswego. I need to like re-record this because I recorded it in my unfinished home studio, so it was really shitty like quality. I recorded that bass line probably over 10 times. Not here, but just like in general. Like I recorded it initially and it was in like drop C sharp, and then the final product is in drop B, so it's a lot lower and heavier. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I still have like want to improve on it. Like everybody said, like just go out all out on vocals. So that's what I want to do next. So that's an interesting story because it initially started out as a dream that I had where I was like in this like wooden sailboat and I was riding down a river of blood. And there was like plateaus either to my side, like just giant mountains, and then this like giant eyeball, the eye of the beholder, came and like opened up its mouth, like it had like a mouth and the eye. It was super weird, and it had like really like noodle legs, just like spider legs coming out of everywhere, and I will never forget that dream. But then I came up with a different interpretation for it. I decided I wanted to be more about environmental destruction due to capitalism. So I wanted to incorporate, the river of blood because people are like polluting this earth and corporations are just destroying the planet and the plateaus looking dead. They used to have life, they don't. And the eye of the beholder is like basically like the 1% that just like controls everything and destroys the
the
planet.
rich versus the poor?
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Um, but I think either way works. Either way, it's near and dear to me because I care about both of those things. Like I love dreams and I love anti-capitalism. So I brought some stuff.
Yeah,
Let's see.
let's
So
see
the
it.
first thing I brought is this lyric journal I got for Christmas. It has my name on it. But this is where I write all my lyrics. So a big process for me in writing lyrics is first writing poetry that doesn't rhyme.
That's how I
Yeah,
write
yeah,
music.
exactly. I find it helpful to have a poem book published called Demon, 20 something poems from, I don't remember the name, but it's called Demon, and you can find it on Barnes and Noble online. I'm a dedicated poet, and then I just take the poems and put them to music, basically. It really just shows like music is universal. Like I feel like there's too many people in music that gatekeep it.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like I'm a metalhead, but a lot of metalheads are like, you can't like new metal because it's not real metal. I'm like, shut up,
Guilty. When I
dude.
was 14, I was like a metal supremacist because I listened to
Oh,
black
me too.
metal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that I was kind of the same way, but I was kind of like on the opposite end. Like, listen to this, and the people were like, "No, that's lame," and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I don't like metal." But then, I kind of still feel like the imposter syndrome because my favorite band is
Mm-hmm.
Alice in Chains, but then I'm a metalhead, and Alice in Chains is technically grunge, so I'm
Grunge.
like, I don't really give a shit
The
anymore. Then,
best thing I ever did, when I wanted to listen to like my guilty pleasure music,
yeah.
I would go on YouTube because I didn't want it to show up on my Spotify Wrapped.
Oh yeah, no, that's kind of real
The
though.
best thing I ever did was stop caring
Right.
because the more
Hmm.
music and different types of music that you consume, the more inspiration you
Exactly.
have, the more you've listened to, the more you can decipher. I
For
think
sure.
it's a great
Exactly.
thing to listen to different types of music.
Exactly. Kids, don't listen to the haters. Um,
Being
uh,
cringe is being free.
exactly. And then the next thing I brought is my pedal board. So this is my pedal board. I've been using this since I got to Oswego. I've changed it. Oh, there's here and there. I've changed it a lot, but this is like how I plan to keep it for the most part. So it starts off going into this noise gate that I actually use as a mute pedal, so I can tune my bass without people having to hear it. But then it goes into this EQ, which kind of just like sculpts my sound, like it boost and cut frequency. It's not really like how it should be right now because I got jumbled around, but I'm not going to fix it right now. This is my compressor. This basically it tames the high end and it like cuts it like takes the loudness and brings it down and takes the quietness and brings it up so it's like more balanced. And then this is my prized possession is the grunge pedal that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. This is like the second the tech version. There's also a DoD version, but this was made in the early 2000s, like 2004, I think. But yeah, and this is my distortion pedal that I use on everything. I love it. It sounds great. A lot of people will say it sucks, but it doesn't. And then finally, we go into this chorus flanger of the Swim Team, based off of the Nirvana Nevermind album. That chorus. I use the flanger version because I just think it sounds better on bass. I think it can get a little muddy on the chorus um, section, but yeah, that's it. And this is a new pedal board. It used to be a lot bigger, but I sized it down so I can bring it around easier around Oswego. I'm Mr. Bone, and you're watching Disney Channel.